here. At first, I caught my case out there in Queens, 1988. Yes, right around the same time that, the cop was killed, all that, put in motion and everything, and they had just formed TNT. And I got knocked because I was out there on 201st and Linden Boulevard with my team. Once again, the guards, I ain't got to mention no names at this present moment. I got plenty of stories to go with that too. And I caught my first case on 205th in Linden, which is the little block I had sold up because they had a 24-hour store next to the Jehovah's Witness spot. So I went up there, started doing my thing. Plus, I was living out there at that time too with a Panamanian chick named Rosie on 205th between 114th Road, 114th Avenue. If I go down to Murdoch, you know what I'm saying, I'm considered to be in Hollis. If I go over here to Francis Lewis, on that side is, Queens Village. If I go up, walk up the Linden Boulevard, I'm in St. Albans. So I'm doing my gristle out there and I'm letting the young live. Just when I come out to do my thing, everything is shut down. No black back blocks, no nothing. Because I made it happen. And I had to stand up for it because, rest in peace, I know he ain't no longer here, but another Queens legend, official gangster that represented in, behind them walls for Queens thoroughly, Ronnie Mack, and another cat they call JC, Joe Collins, those type of individuals, official, and there's numerous others. So let me get back to this, right? I catches my case out there, the end of like 88 or whatever. Like I said, TNT is just starting and they blitzing everywhere, everything. I was one of the first ones they bagged. That's a whole nother story because I think some lame ass supposed to be God told on me at that time. And, that's how it happened. They caught me with 231 vials of crack, not on me. It was across the street, stash. That's why I know somebody told on me. And when they scooped me, I was one of the first ones that they had in the van. So I rode around with them all through Queens, that whole side. You know what I'm saying? St. Albans, all the way. I don't know if we might have hit Hollis, but definitely the south side, South Road, 108th, all that bagging. So boom, we all go in. After a while, my people come snatch me, bail me out, boom, boom, boom. Go through the process. I'm back and forth because I got so many stories because I was all over, Long Island, Amityville, Wine Dance, in the desert, Lord's Island, Long Island in the desert, the Oasis, Queens, Medina, everywhere I went, all right? And like I said, I never rocked with nobody but my Aelites because for one thing and two for sure, at that time it was still word is born and we wasn't into killing, earths and babies and old earths, none of this retarded, things that's going on nowadays, So anyway, they rocked me, finally end up there. I'm back at the spot that we got back out in the east that I ain't never told the story. Logan Street guards, longest running crack spot out there. I'm not bragging about none of these things, but in order for me to tell these stories so that y'all can see real live things, because once again, this is another issue of telling you why you shouldn't be involved in the drug game and you shouldn't be involved in things that you're not willing to deal with the consequences without telling on somebody else. Let's get this straight. If me and you commit a crime together and you get caught for some circumstances and you bring me into the situation, then you a snitch. If me and you get into some beef and you pop at me and you miss and I come back and pop you up or lay you down and then now all of a sudden, you know, you want to tell or whatever, you a snitch. But certain things, come on, you can't expect a civilian. And that's where y'all got it twisted at. But anyway, getting back to my topic, I caught another case in Medina in Brooklyn. So boom, I had to end up going to suffering something, as they said back then, you know, something Boulevard, because you had a judge called Rothwax. And he was saying slick shit, you know, like, you see a tree, you look out the window. You see a tree, no, it ain't no tree there. Well, it'll be a tree grown there by the time you get through doing this sentence. So what is he telling you? He's telling you he getting ready to load you up, gas you up with time. So that's what they, you know, what they had some hang up rough wax, some name for him. Okay, you know, that's what I say. Ran to my man Pudgy, another one out in Queens, you know, originally from Brooklyn. I used to play ball with him and everything before he went out there to Rockaway Boulevard. Another one, Allah bless the dead, Doc that got killed. I know these individuals. Doc used to deal with my cousin back then, you know, and of course Skinny Ivan, who was originally from Plaza. So I know all these things in these individuals. Like I said, I'm a Brooklyn, Queens individual. So I end up copping out, you know, not by judge, by jury or whatever. They got me out of Rothwax, sent me downstairs to have cop out, you know, by judge or whatever. So the undercovers wouldn't have to tell. I took the 1.5, the 3.5. I went up north, like getting ready to hit 89. My number 89, A34, 53. So I was 3,453 prisoner within that A selection that year, 89. Okay? While I was up there, first went through downstate, only stayed overnight, and then they got me in some overdraft, went to Elmira, crazy, in there for a minute, go through everything, and end up going to Groovy Land. But at that time it was a minimum, you know? So I was in the minimum. Of course, they had the medium right down the hill. They ended up turning that into a girl facility also. Because when we went in there, it used to be a spot for the COs. So it was all right. We was out there laying sidewalks in Danville, you know, New York. White boys hitting us off with weed, alcohol, all that. Anyway, I was in there, you know, juggling cigarettes. I had some rich white boy, for real. He was from out there in Dix Hills, Long Island, where all the judges and all that lived. His parents had crazy money, but he was a chain smoker, you know, so it was pack for pack. He ended up owing me something like 6 cartons, told on me to the lieutenant. The lieutenant didn't want to rank me up for no extortion, so he just, boom, kicked me out, went right down there to the medium. I was cool with that anyway. I helped put L and K dorm together. So, matter of fact, I ends up in K dorm. I'm in K dorm, boom, moving around, and you're gonna see why I'm going through so much with this story right here. I was in K-Dog, moving around. Bing, I runs in the first Shy Boogie from the Supreme team. So he like, yo, God, your name's Shabu. I'm like, yeah, my name's Shabu. And the thing that used to be ironic, I used to be out doing my thing, running these chicks, say, Shabu, you was just at the party over there, even though, I was much taller than him. And then eventually, I got cock diesel and all that shit. I couldn't get past 200 pounds until I went up north. I was 29, wisdom born. So, anyway, he said, yeah, the same thing used to happen to me. And I used to be like bugging out. I said, yo, God, we just got it like that. We clicked, rest in peace. Shy Boogie from the team, for real. And then I runs into my man that I'm going to show y'all right here. I'm picking it up from my photo mountain book. And the only reason I'm putting my man, who y'all know this is, B-Dub up there, is because, like I said, all of this is out in the open. And I just want to make sure that y'all understand that I'm not one of these individuals just up here running his mouth and his word is not his bond. But him, shout out to my man, also Yak, Vic, shout out to Ray, that used to run with Tommy Mickens. It was so many. Matter of fact, Zip, Corona, my man Pudgy was up there. Yeah, John and them, brother Pudgy. John and Pudgy and Face and them from over there on Northern Boulevard. Understand, Left Rack, Nori. That was God City, The great brother of law mathematics came from P-Long and tore it up out there. So it was plenty guards out there. Big D, all of them, I know individuals, for real. So, like I said, those was just the processes of us knowing each other. Oh, I was talking about the individuals that was in Groveland that was from, Queens. So it was numerous, and like I said, always blended in, always had good relationships with these individuals. And when I left out of there and I came back down for work release, they put me in Queensboro. Okay? While I was in Queensboro, once again, Queens is, it's Queensboro, Shout out to my man, Wild Ass Barry. I think that's the one they always talk about for the bridge. Barry used to get drunk. That nigga was ill. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the old school Bullet. Shout out to my man. I know he passed away. That was the first individual when I got up north that had me on all that crazy workout. Rick. He was another live old timer. It was a bunch of cats, But most of all, you had my man that I knew prior to being there because he dealt with a chick that I went to college with. The first time I met him, his name is Riley. Everybody know funny ass, heavy set, brown skin, Riley, And Riley, he was the first one when Cat did his stunt that put him on the map with the whole truckload of 18-wheeler Honda Elites. See, everybody that was somebody, George Boy, the buckle plates, numerous things that individuals did out in the street for their team that rang bells all throughout New York City. Plus we was all going to the clubs, competition, everything, As wild as it still was on some, we was brought up with that congratulator. If I come to the club and your team is doing it, they shining, that means niggas gotta go buckle down. And Rich and Alpo and them is got the six, then you gotta go back and regroup. You know? Going to the Encore out in Queens, all that. So, once again, let me stick to the topic. So while I'm up north, I meet these individuals, we get a bar, boom, boom, boom. I leave, I come home. My man Wise, be done. We stay in contact. This another joint. If anybody know, this was two cat from Harlem. One pretty boy, Muhammad, and the other one was my man, Crazy Rude Dog. Those was my peoples. So if anybody know them brothers is still alive or whatever, tell them to, hit God in them streets. Anyway, like I said, while I was in work release, Raleigh, you had Civ, which I'm going to show some pictures of, Civilized, that Just Me's brother, Just Me, was the one that was real tight with Fat Cat. I'm not saying nothing nobody don't already know, and the paperwork, everything else. And he's supposed to had something to do with the Bolden brothers, Ron doing them from the Bronx, same cats that did what they did to AZ, looking for him, or however that went. And Just Me supposed to took place with a setup or whatever. So, Just Me ended up getting his head knocked off. But his brother Sid was in there with me. Another well-known individual, and that's how I first, Joe, Bimmy's older brother, that's the first time I met him. Was a cat in there, another one, Law Bless the Dead, fly ass Eddie Lee. Played ball for Cincinnati, could have went pro and everything, was a hustler, Everybody knows he was viciously murdered in the Bahamas, chopped up, left in the trunk, That's another story down the line, that be. But I know when my man used to come in there, Eddie Lee, and used to say to me, tap me on the bed, be like, yo, you need some bread? I'd be like, yeah, knots like this. And how you gonna know it's real? Joe had one of them Mustang 5.0s. It was black, and he had the bar on it, like, they be having out in Cali. And Eddie Lee was leaving out, 6 in the morning, come back 12 at night. My man Knowledge was in there, Knowledge just came home, peace to the God. He was the manager, Smooth the hustler, and Trigger the gambler, and did many tours, Biggie, all of them. Everybody know Knowledge in the rap world prior to him, catching the big and everything else. So basically, all of us is intertwined with one another. So eventually, I leave up out of work release. Once again, at that time, and I mentioned all of this, we had the tailor shop out in Queens on Sutton Boulevard between, if I'm not mistaken, 116th Ave and 116th Road. We was right next to like a Jamaican restaurant that sold weed out there, crazy back then. Everybody they know what I'm talking about. Plus, I used to deal with a chick out there. I did a little short on that. Vanessa Mullins. She used to stay on 155th, and I think that was 116th Road or whatever. Road. Walk down the block and you right there by the handball courts and all that, by Baisley. So anyway, that's of course like it go. We get dough, we plugged in. So automatically that's gonna be my job. at the tailor shop. So before I get into all this, and the reason why I'm stating everything I'm stating, y'all better make sure that I get at least 10 G subscribers behind this. Y'all better make sure I get at least 10,000 views. I'm looking to go live, and any questions that y'all want to ask me behind me bringing out what I'm bringing out here today on Labor Day. You understand? Because I'm talking some very, very important stuff about my life back then, and is detrimental because I don't want law enforcement or anybody to get it confused that I am still that same individual, or in this case, I was acquitted. So, I was falsely accused. But like I said, at that time, it was ABG. Anybody can get it. So you have to be prepared for that. And coming from that revolutionary state of mind is, if you got it on you, then you got to be prepared for whatever situation arrives. And coming out of Cypress, East New York, all y'all know about 75th, dirty, corrupt 75th. They might kill you and put a gun on you back then just because of who you are or whatever. But anyway, to start this off right here, and I know I've been talking a long time, and I'm going to cut this up into pieces and throw it in there. Like I said just recently, this is real big. My man, Zip, he squashed the beef with him and Hassan on the phone. He also respected what my brother Glaze had said, and waved the white flag. That some of this social media thing, we be taking it too serious. If you look at somebody's site or somebody's channel that another person dislike or whatever, come on, man. That's weak, man. This is all in sport and play. And if you in that arena where you battling, 10 toes, these, people Hassan and everybody going back and forth with each other, then, you got to expect that. No harm, no foul, and I'm gonna keep it G'd up. I'm not gonna swagger, at the same time, if you a comrade of mine, an individual that I've known for a very long time and I respect, then I will continue to do that, as long as that same respect is given. If it's over, it's over. But moving right along, this was one of the things that, you could kind of tell when people respond to you differently or whatever, that I was asked about by Glaze the day after I told him that Zip had said some things about him on his platform. And he got back at Zip, and then Zip got back at him. And when Zip got back at him, I made a comment and in reference to that I faced 165 years to life, and I took it to trial, and I never told on nobody. That's me. You understand? I'm not saying because you told or anybody else told out here for whatever reasons, for whatever they justify the reason why they told, that's what you got to live with. That's what you got to die with. You know what I'm saying? And it don't make me no greater because I chose to go to trial. So once again, we all are promoting the same thing to the youth out here. Don't get actively involved with the streets, and then you won't have to worry about the consequences that come along with being in the streets. You understand? So this is why I chose myself, by having knowledge of myself and standing on my square of truth and righteousness with myself, that I could not tell. Because there was nothing to tell. Like I said, once again, I was acquitted. But I'm going to take you back to 1991, which was approximately 8 months after I came home on parole or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And this situation popped off where I'm going to show y'all what I was accused of. And like Zip said, you know, I'm going to let y'all know what DD5 files are, okay? We're going to see right now what that means. What do DD files mean in police work? Ain't it? What does DD5 files mean in police work?
According to DocHub, DD5, otherwise known as the Case Management System, it's a digital notepad that detectives use for complaint follow-ups. The name comes from old slang for document detectives file. Forms. Officers use this app to fill out paperwork, filing accident reports, domestic violence reports, and aiding reports.
Okay, so now y'all see when he said that DD5 file, that meant that those police had already talked to Bimmy. When they first went to investigate the crime that took place in Brooklyn, the murder at 73rd, and then the murder that took place out in Queens that was connected because the dude Carlton put a hit out on that female because of what took place in Brooklyn with a homicide. So while Bimmy was at the game or whatever is when the hit took place on the chick. And so happenly, Big Nose Troy, brother or whoever is D Cook, who they call Class, that's a part of the Young Guns, was in the car. And from the trial minutes and everything, it all got reversed, and somehow they were saying that Troy, Big Nose Troy, was responsible for the murder of the cat Carlton or whatever in Brooklyn. So when Bimmy went to sign this affidavit, and once again, let me clarify something about affidavits. I'm not going to say that just because somebody signed the affidavit that they a snitch. But what I will say is if you sign any type of affidavit, which is a legal document, you understand that it's going to be something involving the courts. And the reason why I'm stating that is because I caught a case in North Carolina with a brother named Justice who will tell you what I did for him. And he happened to be coming to my rest when the raid went on. So I wrote, you know, an affidavit because at that time we had a store, you know, selling urban wear and all of that in Lexington, North Carolina. So I had a bunch of jackets, Fat Joe jackets, you know, Johnny Blaze jackets, all that stuff, which is a whole nother story. That's a bombshell with that character police, Hagee, the toughest sheriff, you know, in the United States at that time, but they ended up getting caught up, dirty police again. But let me stay focused on task, okay? How I ended up with this information about not just Bimmy. Y'all remember that record you heard in the hood that 50 said that Blackie was snitching? But when Preem came back home, Preem was still with Black Just. And like I said, Black Just is my man. I didn't mind him follow through because I was talking so much. But Shy Boogie, when we was up in Groveland, he used to put me on the phone with Black Just. Because first thing he said to Black Just, he said, yo, this brother up here named Shy Boom Boom Boom, I was on. He said, yo, that's the guard. Because like I said, as a young guard from Knowledge Equality, 16 years old, 1978, I was at the Parliaments lighting it up when you couldn't go nowhere without being tested about your lessons and your mathematics, and you better be right and exact. So anyway, while I'm out, some things take place, you know, and I end up in the most serious altercation that I ever was faced with in my life. You know, this is real old, so the indictment paper right here, I'm going to cover up my name, you know what I'm saying, just for safety, because I'm getting ready to read some serious, you know, information. But y'all can see, you know, Supreme Court, State of New York, you know, it's old, you know, County of the Kings, the people of the State of New York versus my name, defendant 91KO28325. Right here, this is so old. What Zip was trying to show y'all was what we call the indictment number here. I know docket numbers is basically, from my knowledge and knowing the law pretty well, you know, is just letting you know when your case is on the docket. But anyway, I want y'all to see clearly my counts. All right? And then I'm going to get ready to read them off to y'all. Okay? I got attempt murder in the first degree, 6 counts. Attempt aggravated assault upon police officer, 6 counts. Attempt assault in the first degree, 6 counts. All this is on the C cipher, police. Criminal possession of a weapon in the second degree, 3 counts. Criminal possession of a weapon in the third degree, 3 counts. Criminal use of a firearm in the second degree, 3 counts. Criminal possession of stolen property in the third degree. And last but not least, unauthorized use of a vehicle in the first degree, which if I would have blew to that, which was, I had from an A-class felony, which was the 6 attempt murders on the police, which each attempt carries 25 to life. While I was in trial, I thought I was facing just 25 to life. And the court officer that used to escort me back and forth in Brooklyn Criminal Supreme 365, Adams Street, you know, we talk. I'm like, man, I don't know. Facing this 25 life. He like, what? I don't know 25 to life. You facing 165 to life. Okay? And what happened was I was out on parole. So when they first snatched me, they didn't charge me with the attempt murders on the police. They just charged me with the aggravated assault, all that. You know, they gave me a $4,000 bond, boom, boom. No, it was $2,500. And my, you know, of course, they came, get hit my girl at that time I was dealing with, Sarah, and she came and snatched me. So, while I was out on bond, which which I wasn't supposed to get no bond. They were supposed to drop that dollar retainer, you know, because I was on parole, but I slipped out real fast because my people got me that same day before the parole hold could drop. And I had a parole officer, Miss Joyce Woodard, and she was mad cool because she used to mess with this old timer around my way named Stinky. His mother, Miss Margaret, over there on Logan Street, she used to run numbers. Unfortunately, her grandson, I'm almost positive Pep was her grandson. You know, he was killed early in the days, but Pep was alive while too. So me and her was cool. She was like, yo, you can smoke up Jamaica just as long as you ain't using none of them hard things. You all right. So when I got out, I told her, called her, let her know what was going on. She said, I'm not going to violate you, but 9 out of 10, they're going to come for you. So that's what happened, all right? I'm just going to go through the first little count so y'all can see how real this is. And like I said, once again, if you are not willing to suffer the consequences, which is from all the way from going to jail for the rest of your life, getting shot, you know, not being lucky and getting shot again and getting killed, stabbed, whatever that goes on with this wicked game out here. Because most of the time, everything that happens to you never happens from people on the outside. It's always the people that's on the inside that do the most damage. So, like I said, let me get to the first count. The grand jury of the County of Kings by this indictment accused the defendant of a crime of attempt murder in the first degree, PL 110-125.27-1, committed as follows. Defendant acting in concert with other persons on or about May the 25th, 1991. So you know that acting in concert, aiding and abetting, all that shit is bullshit. Like a conspiracy charge. That means we got you for nothing, but we got you for everything. But understand what it says. Acting in concert with other persons on or about May the 25th, 1991. So that means that there was other people there. But guess what? I was the only one that they had, which I was happy. Because never in my life I was always taught by my OGs, certain things you don't want no co-defendants. Not just certain things, anything. I'd rather ride it out myself and deal with it because I know I'm swift with the law than to have some weak bubblegum cat on my case that's behind my back singing music. Okay? In the County of Kings, being 18 years old or more with the intent to cause death of another person, namely Peter North, attempt to cause the death of such person, and Peter North was a police officer as defined in subdivision 34 of section 1.20 of criminal procedure law, who was in course performing his official duties, and the defendant and others knew or reasonably should have known that Peter North was a police officer. Okay? That's just the first count. I forgot to go back on here and show y'all how after they violated me and got me back in there, I laid up on the island 4.5 months before they took me to court. They took me to court and they lied and said I had absconded, that I was on the run. So that would make the judge revoke my bail, you understand? And when he revoked it, he gave me 100,000 over 100,000 cash. So therefore, my team couldn't even come and just pull me like that, okay? That's the first count, you know? So basically, the second count is the same thing, except for it's a different police officer, Saboteur, Toon. I don't want to be mentioning some of these officers because I don't need nobody, pulling their nuts or anything on me because like I said, I was acquitted. Okay, the third count is also a different officer. Let's just say Officer William. The fourth count is another officer, John. The fifth count is another officer, Vasquez. And the sixth count is another officer, Powers. Okay? The seventh count of the indictment, because the first six is the police officers, right? Now my seventh count is accuse the defendant of the crime of attempt aggravated assault upon police officers. Okay? So they're going to go through the same ritual 6 more times, right? So I got 6 charges, 6 attempt murders in the first degree on the police. And then from 7 through 12, right? Because I'm going to show you how long my indictment paper was. From 7 to 12 is aggravated assault. Aggravated assault upon police officer with a weapon. You're done. Okay? So, by the time we get to the 13th count, right, is indictment accuses defendant, grand jury of the County of Kings by this indictment accuses defendant of the crime of attempt assault in the first degree, PL 110-120-10-1, committed as follows. The defendant acting in concert with other persons on or above 20, the County of Kings with the intent to cause serious physical injury to police officer Peter, attempt to cause such injury to police officer Peter by means of a deadly weapon, namely a pistol. So, now you know that it was also weapons involved. Once again, not bragging and boasting about that lifestyle, but I'm going to just say for real that, we live that. Okay? The subject matter of this count being a armed felon, as the term is defined in Section 120 of the Criminal Procedure Law. That was the dum-dum right there move, because all my joints was really basically, it never caught me for real violence or nothing like that. But like I said, I dumbed out in my junior year of college. Once again, this is for the young to always remember to stay focused. One little thing could change your whole life. And I come home for Easter break, get 2 pounds of weed, and I'm down in 335, the building next to my building, 345 Fountain Avenue, with a 25 automatic in my back pocket. And I'm thinking the police gonna do like they would been doing in the project growing up. If they come through, oh, y'all loitering, next time I catch you, we're gonna give you a ticket or whatever. But the rules have changed. Okay, anyway, once again, from the 13th count, I'm not going through all of them because we're going through 6 at a time. This is all on the police officers. Again, the next police officer, the same thing. The defendant acting in concert with other persons on or about May the 25th, 1991 in the County of Queens with the intent to cause serious physical injury to police officer Salvatore. Attempt to cause such injury to a police officer, his name, by means of deadly weapon, namely a pistol. Okay? So, that's going to be from 13, let's add 6 to count 19. Okay? Okay, now we get to count 20. The grand jury of the County of Kings by this indictment accused the defendant of the crime of criminal possession of a weapon in the second degree, PL 265.03 F1, committed as follows. The defendant, acting in concert with other persons on or about May the 25th, 1991, the County of Kings knowingly and unlawfully possessed a loaded firearm, namely a pistol, with intent to use unlawfully against another. Okay? That's count 20. All right? We almost finished here. And the significance of this is that I just want y'all to understand the seriousness of the nature of what I was up against. And once I went through that, that's when I put the gun down. Well, don't get twisted now. I don't want no war, but, God always got to stay prepared for it. Anyway, the 21st count is grand jury County of Kings by this indictment accused the defendant of a crime of criminal possession, again, weapon, in the second degree, PL 265.03, committed as following. The defendant, acting in concert with other persons on or about May the 25th, 1991, the County of Kings knowingly and unlawfully possessed a loaded firearm, namely a pistol, with the intent to use unlawfully against another. Okay? Once again, they're going to go through the basics here. Second degree, that's count 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. All of these is the same thing with the loaded pistol. Okay, count 26 is still the same thing about okay, now this is a little bit, 26 count, they go a little bit more in depth, okay? The defendant, acting in concert with other persons on or about May the 25th, 1991, in the County of Kings, having committed a Class C violent felony offense as defined in paragraph B of subdivision 1 of section 7002 of the penal law. The defendant and others knowingly and unlawfully possessed a deadly weapon, namely a pistol, which was a loaded weapon from which a shot readily capable of producing death and other seriously injury may have been discharged. The subject matter of this count being an armed felon, as that term is defined in section 120 of the Criminal Procedure Law. Come on, of course we had to been, some weapons had to been fired. If there was no weapons fired, then it would be no attempt murder. It would be nothing about, possession charges of weapons in the third and second degree and everything else. Because when, before I went to trial, and that's another thing, y'all got to know the law. And I didn't know the law until I got to the beacon. Let me finish with this last little thing, and then we gonna get it popping. Okay? Defendant acting with other persons, subdivision unlawfully. This is still, I'm already at count 27, and it's still involving weapons. Okay? We on count 28. Boom, 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 boom. Count 28, same thing, possession of a weapon. And the 29th count which is different, is the grand jury of the County of Kings by this indictment accused the defendant of the crime of criminal possession of stolen property in the third degree, PL 165.5086, committed as follows. The defendant acted in concert with other persons on or about May the 25th, 1991 in the County of Kings with the intent to benefit themselves and the person other than an owner therefore, and to impede the recovery by the owner therefore knowingly possess stolen property having a gate value of more than $3,000, namely an automobile owned by Edward Mahoney, who was an ex-police officer. I had 18 police officers testify against me in trial. Okay? So, during this here episode, I was in Brooklyn House. That didn't last long. They kicked me out, sent me to the alley. When I got there, it was the famous Beacon. Yeah, it was rocking and rolling. Just opened up. Y'all all talk that 9 blood, this, that, and the third. Yeah, I was in there when that set it off. Matter of fact, Big C Robo Just was in there. We was only 2 niggas that was cock diesel wearing them big blue suits. Well, Puerto Rican Bam Bam too. You know, shout out to Bam Bam. I've talked about Puerto Rican Peacock, all of them cats is in there, Scarface for life shit and everything else. But anyway, when I was there and I came through, you know, Brooklyn House, another famous legendary Brownsville, you know, my brother at one Airlight, you know, they say you on the Muslim thing, but you know, everybody know Born Son, the truth, you know. So I got there because of my classification with, you know, all of this infamous stuff right here they was trying to charge me with. Automatically I had a 22. So 22 bodies, you know, stick up, all the you know, the real animals, filth, slime, you know, grimy, whatever you want. You gonna be in them buildings with that. You know, HDM. But fortunately, you know, and unfortunately, I didn't go to HDM and went to the new and improved HDM, which was the Beacon. You know, all y'all talk about it. I rode in there, you know, the first individual or whatever, they sent me to 3A. I got kicked out of there. Shout out Miss James, everybody know. And I ended up in 4A when I first walked in, or they took me. First they wanted to take me to 9 blood. But, you know, when you in jail, hey, wherever you go, that's jail. They ain't home. That's why you gonna see if you really built like that. Everybody be talking this, that, and the third, but when you gotta go to certain buildings and certain houses, if you're not official, it's going down. All right? So, like I said, little altercation come, you know, little sweetie pie from the streets, bam, bam, bam. You know, all the COs is on her, everything like that. She done told them some slick shit. So they come after child deep. You know, yo, big man, boom, 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 we don't want no problems. You know, I'm like, what the fuck is this all about? You know, it was over the broad. Anyway, they didn't take me to 9 blood, which was the evening side. They took me over to 4A. And when I got there, it was blood coming all out. You know, you got the first gate, then you go in that little space where the control room, and then they buzz you in to the actual dorm, you know. So I get up in there, I'm checking it out, seeing, you know, how everything is moving, because 8 to 8:30, I gotta have that jack, no matter where I go, you know. At that time, my little chickadee, she ain't have no phone, and she go right there on Linden Boulevard, right around the corner from my house on Logan, and she gonna meet me. So either you gonna give it to me respectfully, or I'm going to go into a script and I'm willing to go the distance, whole house with